Hello everyone, this is your host Mr. Top 10, and welcome back to another episode. Writer-director Joss Whedon is one of geekdom's most cherished creators. Primarily known for creating cult classic TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer 1997 and 2002, and for directing the first two Avengers films, Whedon's reach actually goes much farther than nerd culture movies and TV. Whedon also has a reputation for being one of Hollywood's most requested and respected script directors, with a ton of the most popular films of the last few decades having his fingerprints on them, even if he doesn't have a credit. He worked on the Twister 1996 script, for instance, but his work is uncredited. In this video, we will talk about 10 things you probably didn't know about Joss Whedon. But before we move on, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Number 10. His first TV writing job was on Roseanne. Whedon moved to Los Angeles in the late 80s and landed his first writing gig not long after on the sitcom Roseanne. Whedon penned 4 episodes for the show's 1989-90 season and followed that up with 3 episodes of Parenthood in 1990, before getting the opportunity to write his first movie script in 1992. The movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which Whedon would later adapt into a very successful TV show 5 years later. Considering Whedon graduated from Wesleyan University in 1987, landing a writing job on a major network series only 2 years after graduation is a pretty significant accomplishment. Number 9. He is a third-generation TV writer. Writing truly is in Whedon's blood, as he may well be the first third-generation television writer in history. His grandfather, John Whedon, was a successful sitcom writer in the 1950s and 60s, contributing scripts to shows like The Donna Reed Show 1958 and Leave It to Beaver 1957. And his father, Tom Whedon, worked on The Dick Cavett Show 1968, Alice 1976, and The Golden Girls 1985. Number 8. His first on-screen appearance was in Angel. Whedon's various TV shows, including Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel 1999, Firefly, and Dollhouse 2008, are often referred to as being a part of the Jossverse. Since Whedon is so often closely associated with his creations, you would think that he would cameo quite often, but he didn't actually appear on screen in one of his shows, or any show he worked on for that matter, until the Angel episode Through the Looking Glass, where he appeared as Numfar of the Death Walk clan. His role included a lot of dancing, for some reason. Number 7. He attempted to rewrite the script for X-Men 2000. Whedon's early career is full of scriptwriting wins. He worked on films such as Speed 1994 and the original Toy Story 1995, and he even got the chance to come in and try to rework the script for Bryan Singer's first X-Men. Unfortunately, the film's producers didn't like Whedon's changes and scrapped the majority of his work. One line that did survive, Storm's infamous "You know what happens to toads when they get hit by lightning" bit. Funnily enough, Whedon blames Halle Berry's delivery for the dialogue coming off, claiming that her delivery sounded like she was the Addams Family's Desdemona. Sorry Josh, but we don't think any kind of delivery was saving that line from being a stinker. Number 6. He's indirectly responsible for a X-Men The Last Stand 2006 plotline. Although Whedon had nothing to do with the actual creation of the awful X-Men The Last Stand, the film did borrow concepts he originated from his astonishing X-Men comics run. The idea of a mutant cure developed by Dr. Kavita Rao, Beast's interest in it, and the prominent role played by both Kitty Pryde and Colossus were all inspired by Whedon's Gifted story. In hindsight, we wish Whedon had actually been involved with making the film, because it sure could have used someone who knew what they were doing at the helm. Number 5. He worked on Waterworld 1995. Like most screenwriters, Joss Whedon has some films in his back catalog that he probably wants to forget about, such as the 1995 debacle Waterworld starring Kevin Costner. Fortunately for him, Whedon didn't actually have that much to do with the final product, as he wasn't brought in to do script rewrites until very late into production, and there wasn't much he could do to save it. When I was brought in, there was no water in the last 40 pages of the script. It all took place on land, or on a ship, or whatever. I'm like, isn't the cool thing about this guy that he has gills? And no one was listening. I was there basically taking notes from Kevin Costner, who was very nice, fine to work with, but he was not a writer. Number 4. He almost made a Wonder Woman movie. Joss Whedon has earned a reputation for crafting female-driven stories, making him an obvious choice for a project such as a Wonder Woman movie. It turns out that Whedon was actually attached to bringing the DC Comics heroine to the big screen back in 2005 as writer-director. Whedon ended up leaving the project in 2007 over creative differences with the studio, with Whedon claiming that they never showed much interest in his ideas for the film. I would go back in a heartbeat if I believed that anybody believed in what I was doing. The lack of enthusiasm was overwhelming. Fortunately, he eventually found his way to Marvel and made the sensational The Avengers 2012, but we're still curious about what Whedon's Wonder Woman would have looked like. Number 3, he directed some of the Marvel post-credit scenes. Whedon is well known for directing The Avengers and its sequel, Avengers: Age of Ultron, but what you might not know is that he also directed a couple of the post-credit tags included at the end of every Marvel movie. He directed the post-credit scene in Thor 2011, where Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, shows Dr. Eric Selvig, Stellan Skarsgård, the Tesseract, as well as the mid-credit scene from Captain America: The Winter Soldier that introduces Quicksilver, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Scarlet Witch, Elizabeth Olsen. Number 2, he allegedly made more money from Dr. Horrible than The Avengers. Dr. Horrible's sing-along block 2008 and The Avengers couldn't be much different from one another. One is a comedic musical that Whedon self-funded for around $200,000, and the other is the third highest-grossing film of all time. You would think that Whedon's Avengers paycheck would have outstripped whatever he made off of Dr. Horrible, but as Whedon claimed during a Q&A at Pallyfest in 2015, off of the latter. Thankfully, he got a big raise for Age of Ultron, though he did that estimated his pay as being a staggering $100 million. Number 1, his one major criticism of The Avengers. Despite being a big studio production, The Avengers was clearly a passion project for Whedon, as the self-professed comic geek wrote and directed the film. Still, Whedon is refreshingly self-critical when necessary. On the commentary track for The Avengers, Whedon admitted that he didn't really like how the nuclear bomb that Iron Man sends through the portal over New York single-handedly wipes out the Chitauri threat in one fell swoop, claiming that the kill the queen bee, kill the drones nature of the scene wasn't what it could have been. However, he does claim that it was necessary so that the Avengers could enjoy a moment of triumph at the end. Have a craving for more top 10 lists? Then check out our other videos on screen and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this.